Well, I want to thank everyone for their patience and apologize. I'm a couple of minutes late. I should have set this up much earlier. So my gratitude to all those that are watching this tribute to Mevlana that I'm paying special occasion on the 1st of November, which is the anniversary year when I first met Mevlana and the beautiful people at the Knowledge Book in 2018 in Istanbul. And I was so fortunate to be reinvited back in 2019. So part of that tribute is a description of my personal journey before Mevlana, when I met her, and what the future holds for me and what I perceive as humanity. So I'm pretty going to skip the past history of mine, other than just tells you my book, but this is obviously not about my book or about me, but like I said to you, this is just a quick way of giving you, the audience, a glimpse of where I'm coming from. So this is my memoir. I'm proud of it, the award-winning memoir. It covers my time from my birth in 1961 to 2002. And this is me, and this is my mother, my beautiful mother. So I am not ashamed to admit that I'm a mother's boy, proud of it too. So, and also you may get significance from the title, From Newton, Einstein to God. So my icon are Newton and Einstein, two, in my opinion, two of the greatest scientists, mathematicians that's ever lived. And it's actually through the science that delivered God to me. So I was never a God believer. It was a painful journey for me. So actually, I'm already fallen out of sync already, like I said. So this is the book that brought me on this journey, which I assume many of you watching in will already know. It is the Knowledge Book. So just get it into focus. So this Knowledge Book is what led me to this journey. This journey, the past 3 years, journey in 2018 and 2019, and now. So it is this book, and I will describe in a little bit more detail at the end the significance of this book. But this is the book that actually started this journey for me personally, and obviously culminating in this presentation, tribute to Mrs. Bulent Corak, who obviously most of you know as Mevlana. So that is the first book that I should be showing. Then to describe my past journey is I quickly skim that this is the journey of my past before I met Mevlana. So this is my past, and it's from Newton, Einstein to God. So from the title, you can obviously gather that I am actually a physicist. I'm a nuclear physicist, and it's actually the discovery of the twin universe. So this is one of the published papers. I've published other papers as well. New Science Light Path to Cosmological Dark Matter. So I discovered the twin universe, which answers many of the cosmological unknowns of our time, include dark matter, that is the mysterious energy that creates the universal expansion, rather accelerated expansion of the universe, and dark matter, which is the matter that's needed to account for the rapid rotation of galaxies. And it even can also quantitatively and qualitatively account for like ghostly phenomena of quantum entanglement. So I'm proud that my scientific theory, I'm not the first to come up with multiverse or parallel universe. I'm not claiming that, but I'm claiming I developed new formulas, new expression that takes that twin universe and accounts for all these mysterious unknown. The biggest mysterious unknown that I discovered through my science was this single omnipotent consciousness, which is my scientific terminology for God. So it was only through my journey in 2018 did I fully accept my divine faith. So that is the impact that Mevlana had on me personally, and that's why I'm just diving a bit into the past, how my journey came and how my crossroad came in Istanbul, meeting Mevlana, and that is what opened up cosmos, the energy through me. So before that, I admit I was a very arrogant physicist. I thought smart enough. I don't need people tell me this and that, and obviously, but that arrogance was also my own personal blindness. Not just blindness in my mind, but also, I regrettably say, blindness in my heart. So you hear me choking up a bit. Well, it is emotional because, but that's good emotion. That's something that I wish I had at a younger age. But anyway, so through my science, I also wrote this book. Originally, it was just a sci-fi story called Clystar. I didn't really thought of why the reason and the name just popped up to me, and I just created name. But this name, I found out after my journey in 2018. I used a code, a Bible code, which you can use any software, you can get that. And I actually discovered that this name is actually encoded within the sacred book of the Torah. So twice, not only twice is it actually encoded within the Torah and linked to God. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can actually get the Bible code software. It's readily available publicly. You can actually search for this name and you can see that it is linked to God twice. The reason why I mentioned twice, it is linked inherently to the twin universe. So everything is a duality, the yin and yang. And so the book, and I have to thank my fellow New Yorkers, from Jenny Yip to Yulia to Marge, who took me in with their heart into the Knowledge Book chapter group here in New York. So my first reading there, what caught my attention was that the Knowledge Book reading mentioned about the significance and the importance of science. So when they mentioned that, again, I think everything is meant to be, everything was fated. So when I heard that and how important science is within this book, I obviously, my curiosity was aroused considerably. But again, cut to the chase, I was invited through the nomination of my friends and colleagues at New York to be on the panel in 2018 at the Call to World Peace in Istanbul, who those that attended know is always on the 1st of November of each year. So I'm just going to share a slide. One of the slides I did, I think 10 or 11 slides, but this was the last slide that I made. In fact, I prepared my presentation months in advance, but this slide I actually only created like 2 days before I was going to go onto the stage. And in a moment, you will see the significance of it once I pull this slide up for you. So hopefully you can see the slide. This is the very last slide that I created. In fact, I knew I created 2 days before the conference, because 2 days before then, the speakers had a private meeting with Mevlana at a head office. Those that are in Istanbul know where that location is. And I actually asked if they will allow me to insert this slide, because I already presented all the slide, and I said I wanted just to insert this one because I just created it literally on that day. And they were obviously very, very accommodating, said, yes, of course. And actually, it was only when I showed this slide that Mevlana, like I said, she's incredible. She noticed everything. I mean, those that met Mevlana knows just how incredible this woman is. You know, she's so sharp, so energetic. So she told me, Leong, did you count how many points on this chart that you did? And I did. I genuinely did not. I said, no, is it important? And he said, no, you count it? And so I counted it. And incredibly, there's 10 focal points on this chart that I created. So I created, because this is the journey that I went on in 2018. So the journey started in 6th of September, when my family, and that's my brother and my sister and I, went to pay our respect to our mother, who's in heaven now, regrettably, but we went there to pay our respect on the 6th of September. So that was the start of my, what I define as my journey to God, or the prime mission. So from there, our family went to Bhutan and Nepal. And incredibly, again, I think those that follow my social posting will know the story, is that the image of Buddha appeared on the Buddha leaf, which is what you can see there. And after I close this slide, I'll actually show you the actual leaf that I still have. But more importantly, or well, obviously seeing Buddha on a Buddha leaf is extremely important. Is a sign. Whether you believe it or not, I believe it. I believe it genuinely, that it was a sign from heaven to tell me that I was on this journey. So along that path, I created 3, or actually 4 manuscripts as I was flying between the various points around this world. So those were what I call the creation and God, or logic and love. And also, is God real? Is God needed? Is God good? So those came to me inspirationally while I was in the middle of on the plane, in the airport. It just came to me, and I just wrote it down. And you'll know what significance of those is later on. I also visited my father also in heaven in the UK. And again, this wasn't all planned in advance. In a way, our family just did this tour. And it was exactly 1 month after I visited my mother that I visited my father as well. But the final focal point, the 10th one, was in Istanbul, where I was divinely and honored to meet the most, as all of you met Mevlana will know, the most significant woman in this world. I mean, significance is not even a word that it would suffice what she impacts on everyone that she touches. And so touched I am by her. And I'm just going to stop sharing this slide now. So this is the last slide that I show on my 2018 presentation. So for those that saw it there, I thank you for paying attention. But 2018, as I define, is my journey to God. So even though I claim through my previous scientific discovery, the twin universe, that led me to God, I was actually in denial. I actually refused to even accept my own theory. I couldn't even say the word God. That was how anti I was to it. So that just gives you another background. What's inside of me, the conflict inside of me before I went to Istanbul in 2018. So this is the leaf with the image of Buddha. And if you focus it right, you can see it is still incredibly, now this is 2 years now, and I have not preserved this other than put it in a plastic bag. So it's not in resin or anything. I'm not soaking alcohol in it. Incredibly, as you see, it's still almost, wow, it's as green as the day that I found it in Bhutan, and I dipped it into holy water in Lumbini. Lumbini is the birthplace of Buddha. So for those that want to see the image, I posted it previously. So that is, to me, the first sign of my journey in 2018 and how holy and divine that sign was. So as I mentioned, the 10th focal point, which Mevlana amazingly, when I show her that slide and ask her for permission to insert into my presentation, she spotted it immediately and say, by the way, do you see how many focal points? 10. I mean, I was just astounded by her observation, her ability. Like I said to you, obviously, all youths that have known her for years are fully aware of what I'm describing. But for those that have never met Mevlana, then all I can say is if you get an opportunity, please go and see her in Istanbul, where she's headquartered with her knowledge book, because it is absolutely a life-changing experience for me personally, and for a lot of people that I've talked to. It's also an astonishing, life-changing experience as well. So I absolutely suggest that you get a chance, go and visit her and her group in Istanbul. Now, the knowledge book is all over the world. I believe, I apologize if I get this wrong, but I believe it is translated and available in 38 languages around the world. So it is obviously a global organization and very, very well established. And as I mentioned to you, I obviously was blessed and fated to meet the New York chapter here that led me to this path. But as I mentioned it, before the 28 journey, even though I actually wrote on my first paper when I took 20 University, found God, I actually refused that that was correct. So only that 2018 and only those logic chart that you saw on the presentation that I gave did. What came of it is this, the God book. It is within contains new mathematics based on new number theory that defines the natural numbers into 4 distinct groups. These 4 distinct groups are actually the chromosomal DNA of the cosmos itself, if you want to call it the chromosome of God. Now, you say, well, that's a bold claim, but with that mathematical formulation, I can calculate, I repeat, I can calculate numerically the exact number of quantum states in this universe that matches the observable baryonic particle in our universe. So this is not just a theory, speculative theory that relies on faith. This is a theory that has prediction that can be compared with experimental observation to prove whether it is right or it is wrong. So it makes many predictions here, calculable numeric prediction. Like I said to you, not just quantify the number of baryonic particle in our universe, but it also calculates the Hubble constant, the expansion rate of the universe, the dark energy I was describing earlier, and it is consistent with the observational value. So the new mathematics, which I said is the new number theory, and the new science based on the twin universe makes calculable prediction that can be compared with experimental observation to prove whether it is right or whether it is wrong. And I'm proud to say that the values, the numbers, predictions that I've made based on that new mathematics and that new science are very consistent with the observational values that my fellow physicists has determined for all these mysterious unknowns. So obviously, call it arrogance, call it ego, but I am obviously very proud that genuinely believe that this theory that leads to God is factually correct. So bold statement, but I put it in writing. And anyone wants a free copy, you only have to buy the book. I'm more than happy to distribute free copies so you can read the facts for yourself. But so again, you can see like the logic chart as we saw on the presentation, the plane. So those three logic chart is God real, is God needed, is God good, is part of this book. So it also includes what the future holds, because facts is one thing, but how useful is this for humanity moving forward? For me personally, it's been a blessing, because this, thanks to Mevlana, has opened up my mind, further elevated my mind to a higher level, but more importantly, opened up my heart. So that was the pivotal moment in my life. So, and that's why I'm spending so much more time on this present. So before my past, I skimmed over it. Now it's the present. The present with Mevlana starting in 2018, when I went onto our stage and gave my presentation. And part of that presentation was this journey that I went through, a journey that opened up my eyes, my ears, my mind, and my heart. And I have to thank many people, but most of all, I have to thank Mevlana for doing that. I can only call it, for me personally, a miracle for me. So I was graciously humbled to be re-invited again back the following year in 2019. So if you think 2018 was a divine, significant year, I'm about to show you another slide that I gave on the 2018 or 2019 presentation. So you bear with me again. I'm going to show you one of the slide that I gave in 2019. So I apologize, I'm going to drink a little bit of water. So for those that were in Istanbul, you'll recognize this slide. So I made announcements of my past. So the 2018, I defined as the past, my journey to God, the prime mission. And those missions are those 10 focal points that I traveled through in my journey, beginning with my mother in heaven in the 6th of September, 2018, and ending on the 10th focal point in the 1st of November in Istanbul in the presence of Mevlana. So those were the prime mission, 10 of those. Then in 2019, what I termed present, because that was when I gave that presentation on the stage on the, again, the 1st of November, 2019. So at that point, I defined this as the present. And this was now the journey of God. And this culminated in prime solutions. So whereas 2018, we're prime mission, 2019, we're prime solution. And as I mentioned, the prime solutions are the new mathematics, the new science that ultimately led me to God, and Mevlana opening up my mind, my soul to accept my divine faith. So, and then I boldly made some may say an arrogant statement that 2020, which is obviously the future, because back then that was 2019, I said that was the future, and that was the journey by God. And I arrogantly, although now I will say it's not arrogant, because I believe my prediction is correct, although it's not my prediction, because I got it from obviously inspiration elsewhere, but I defined that as the prime directives. So I stated, and remember, this is the 1st of November 2019. I stated unequivocally, and those that were present in Istanbul will be aware of that, just what a major impact 2020 will have on humanity. of course, I do not claim that the impact that this, which obviously you're all fully aware of the situation now with the COVID-19, the impact was, to be honest with you, even far-reaching for humanity beyond what I had even anticipated or guessed or predicted or prophesied. It is obviously is nothing to make light of for many people who have suffered through this darkness. It is obviously a very, very dire situation beyond obviously the many that have perished around the world. But even for those that are living, to many, it is considered a living hell. So it is something that obviously is not to be taken lightly, and I don't want to make the claim that, you know, it is, but it is obviously a situation, as you're all fully aware, that has had a humongous, in fact, I would say in all our lifetime, I don't think anyone has gone through such an experience, whether you're 100 years old. I think no one has gone through such a dire experience for humanity. But as the saying goes, and again, I don't want to make light of it, every dark cloud has a silver lining. Therefore, has it woken up humanity? I generally believe so. And it has woken up humanity seeking knowledge and truth, because they've seen that the old way is not the good way. The new way that we are proposing through these prime solutions, we believe is the good journey. And we collectively, and that's why our organization is our collective as well, is part of that mission to enlighten and light the path ahead for humanity. So again, that may sound very arrogant and cocky, but that is truthfully in my heart what I feel my journey is for. Not just my journey, but the journey that I share with all of you. So we're all in this together. So this is my slide in 2019, and obviously if you look at the date, 1st of November 2019, you are all aware of the major significance that had impacted on the rest of the world and into 2020. So again, I was considering whether there's likelihood that I would obviously do my trilogy and be back in Istanbul. And they were actually mentioned that they would like discussion of seeing me back in Istanbul. Again, I don't want to make such a statement because obviously things have not turned out the way it has. But so whether it would have or not, no one knows. But obviously, because of the situation as it is, whether I would be back on stage again to describe that future that was predicted back in 2019 and see what the 2020 turned out. But obviously, the 2020 has turned out to be a monumental history moment for everyone, for all humanity. So it is a painful journey, but as with all journey of discovery, especially of the truth, as the saying goes, the truth can hurt. And humanity, through this pain, through this darkness, has, I believe, awakened, looking for solution, looking for a new way, looking for a new path. And obviously, this knowledge book contains an enormous amount of information, of guidance to literally thousands, maybe even millions of people around the world. So I don't even claim that I will have the same impact as the knowledge book, but I will obviously contribute to this humanity moving forward from this dark age back into light. So, as I mentioned to you, obviously God came out of the 2018 with the solution that was printed. Again, thanks to the people at the Knowledge Book, my book was translated into other languages. So Andrea Wen, who I was honored to meet in 2019 with her beautiful mother as well during the conference 2019, took on the daunting task to translate the God manuscript into Spanish Dios. And not only has she translated it into Spanish, but she is the master scribe that has also guided the other translation into German, which is also now published, and that was translated by Christine Schirlach, who is also a member of the Knowledge Book. So I would not be where I am without all that love and the support that the Knowledge Book people have extended to me. But the God manuscript is also under translation by Suzanne into Dutch, by Seb into Italian, by Sonia into French, by, I apologize, I should have got all the names, into Arabic, into Persian, and into Hebrew by Neil. So I apologize, I skip over people's name, but again, I'm so blessed that the message, the prime solution that I came to me during that journey in 2018 will be also available in the various mother languages around the world. And again, I have to be thankful to all the people at the Knowledge Book that have encouraged me, that have supported me, and that have actually put their labor of love into translating my God book into the various languages of the world, especially to Andrea, who is the master scribe that's handling all the translation. So that is the present, which I spent a lot of time on because it is very important, because it showed you just how this arrogant physicist had his mind elevated to an even higher level, his consciousness open to the cosmos. And more importantly, his heart as well. And I have to thank Mevlana for that. And just to show you how significant Mevlana is, Mevlana and I, we agreed that she would be my adopted mother here on earth. So I boldly state this. This is not some trivial little thing that I would state. As I mentioned, my own mother is an extremely important part of my life. Okay, yes, I am a mummy's boy, and I'm proud of that. I'm not ashamed to admit that. So to take an adopted mother here on earth is something of beyond, beyond friendship, beyond, you would say, beyond love. And Mevlana has taken me on board as an adopted son, and I have taken her on board as her adopted mother. Such is the impact that she has had on me, beyond anyone else that I could say, on earth. So I'm sure my mother would be most happy to know that I have someone as divine as Mevlana to guide me here on earth, So, but the future. So now, what is the relevance of all this? It's all well saying you have these solutions, these directives, these missions that you've gone on, but how is this going to help humanity climb out of this darkness back into light? So through that journey, through these books that have written, two global movements has blossomed out of this. One is the one God, one religion. So I'm not here to argue which religion is better. I mean, that's the problem, no offense, with other mainstream religion. It's like, even those that Abrahamic religion that all believe in the one God, they all argue and regrettably even turn to violence to define which God is the better God, which holy book is the better holy book. It's like, does it really matter if you believe in the one God? Then why are you arguing which God is the better, which name is the better, which symbol is the better, which book is the better? It's one God, right? So I am not claiming my God book is better than any other divine book. The book, just like the knowledge book, should be taken just as that, knowledge. Absorb it, raise your wisdom, and use it in the way that it is meant to be used. Okay, and that means use for love, not for hate. Okay, I pause on that. Use knowledge for love, not for hate. So that global unification movement, which is to unify all the religion under one. When I say under one, I mean under one God. I don't care which religion you want to call it, which book you want to read, whatever, that should not matter. If you have the one true God in your heart, that's all that matters. So this one unification, this one God, one religion is just that. It's just saying there is one God. It's that simple. It is not complicated. Another global social movement also has blossomed out of this 3-year journey. And that was created by, guess who? Andrea Wen, who is the master scribe for all the God Holy Book. So she created the one humanity, one world. And this manifesto was published, I can remember, on the 23rd of June of this year. And we actually had a Zoom conference launch on this. So this manifesto has all the answers to how humanity can climb out of this dark phase, this dark age. So I'm not going to go into detail because obviously it covers about the environment, it covers about war and peace, it covers about what if we could stop all wars? What if we no longer need the military? Do you know that every year, $2 trillion is spent on trying to kill people? Imagine a world where we could be at peace, where people could look at each other, leaders in the world could look at each other and say, why do we need to spend $2 trillion every single year to kill people? I mean, ask that question. Make them ask that question. And the simple answer is, we should not be spending $2 trillion every year to try and kill people. Imagine what you could spend that money on, the number of homes, the number of hospitals, the number, even journeying. You could travel 10 times to the moon and back, twice to Mars and back, and you would still have plenty of money left over to do great things here on Earth. Our Earth has a limited natural resources, so we have to expand our discovery beyond Earth. So for humanity to survive, for us to have a sustainable Earth, a sustainable planet, we need to find viable solutions. And this manifesto details exactly what those solutions are. So I'm not going to go into the details, etc. And again, it's published, but if you ask Andrea, she'll be happy to It's also available in Spanish and English. She'll be happy to send you this PDF for free. So we are taking the knowledge, both from the knowledge book, both from my own personal discovery, and putting it into practical solutions that we have given to humanity, saying these are ways that if you follow this path, and these are practical paths, these are not theoretical, these addresses issues. Like example, our organization, our group with the Afghan government, Dr. Nadi, who's was on the launch on the 23rd. I came up with a brilliant idea, education for peace. It's the most brilliant idea that I was like gobsmacked when I heard of it. It's like, why do we teach mathematics? So we could count. Why do we teach languages? So we can read and write. But yet those are the two most basic educational platforms that we teach. But most importantly, we don't teach peace. We don't teach our children, our students, what it is to be a human. It is fine to count. It is fine to read and write. But why shouldn't we be teaching them how to be human, as in humanity? And that is a platform that we're working with intergovernmental organizations, including the UN, to put together a global educational curriculum, which we're working with many world expert educators, many of them from the knowledge book themselves, like Dr. Numoto, David Carlson. I apologize again if I skip other people from knowledge book. Helena, also from Serbia, but there's others from Africa as well, Nigeria, from all around the world that's contributing to this peace educational curriculum that we are developing, that we want to freely. So our goal is to raise enough funds to provide 100 million solar panel digital tablet with our peace education, but with other important education, including the math, including the languages, which we want to give freely to all the developing nation in the world. So every village, every isolated village around the world, no matter how poor they are, will have the information at their hand. Knowledge is power, and education is how we deliver the knowledge to the world. So we want to make sure that every child, no matter how poor, should have access to these divine knowledge. Okay, so that is one of the practical solutions and things that our organization are trying to implement. So again, we're not just putting theories out there, we're actually going out there. We're not just talking, we are going out there and doing the walking ourselves. Okay, and I am blessed to be walking with many like-minded souls, many of whom have come from the knowledge group, the knowledge book group, and I am truly honored. And again, that all stems from Mevlana, her support for this journey of mine, this journey of ours, I should say, because it's not just my journey, it's the journey that I want to share with all of humanity. So that describes the future, and it is, I believe, a bright future. I do believe we will come out of this darkness, and I believe this new world will have to change. It will change. I believe humanity has woken up to that they are now seeking new ways, new answers, new governance, new everything, because they know the old ways, regrettably, has not served them well. So that hopefully gives you the whole 3 years that I said to you is the most impactful of my life. So, and well, I said to you, I'm not lost for word. I'm just very, very emotional just thinking about how these 3 years have just been incredible, not just for me, of course, but obviously for the rest of humanity. So I am going to end this now by reading out a summary of what this knowledge book is all about. For those that obviously are part of the knowledge book, have read it, are well versed and know what this book is all about. But for those that perhaps are, unaware of it, I'm going to read a statement that summarizes what this book gives to the whole world. If the whole world's willing to open up their eyes, open up their ears, open up their mind, open up the soul to it. So I'm going to end this presentation by reading this prepared. This is the only thing that I actually have been prepared for me. Everything else that I've spoken has come from my heart, which is what I wanted to be. I wanted to be raw. I wanted to be emotional because I wanted, most importantly, to be truthful. And so that's why. But what I'm about to read, it's been prepared, and it's a summary of what this knowledge book. So I'm going to stand it up, give it the place of prominence, and I'm going to share my screen with the image of the knowledge book while I read this closing statement. So I thank you all for your patience on listening. I hope you got something out of this, and I definitely got so much out of it, through this 3 years, and I hope my sharing of the 3-year journey has helped, hopefully, some of you identify that God has not deserted us. The knowledge book is there for humanity. God is there for humanity. We have practical solutions. So we are here for the world. We are here for humanity. So reach out to us, and we will do, obviously, our best to guide you towards the light. So talking about guiding, I will now read the closing statement. So before I do closing statement, God bless you all. Be safe. And I look forward to seeing this exciting new world and joining you on this journey to come. So I will now read the final prepared statement. But before that, I will share the final screen with you all. Okay, so you should all see the image, obviously, of the knowledge book. What is the knowledge book and the salvation program? Cosmos has invested into centuries for humanity to be able to become a ripe fruit. The knowledge of all the sacred books given from the skies until today is a key that unlocks the consciousness of humanity. However, what enables humanity to make consciousness progressions is the frequency of this knowledge. So therefore, in the 21st century, a frequency book beyond religion was gifted to our planet, called the Knowledge Book. The Knowledge Book is not a book of religion. In this book, all the frequencies that humanity was not able to receive from the knowledge of the sacred books until today were loaded onto all the letters within the book as a holistic energy. And the book was conveyed to us with a technique that is beyond knowledge. This is because it is imperative to receive these frequencies in order for humanity to be taken into salvation by attaining consciousness and to reach the dimensions of truth. In the knowledge book, the entire frequency of all the knowledge of the Bible, the Psalms, the Torah, the Quran, the entire Far East, as well as the frequency of the Almighty energy focal point, were brought together as a whole. And this book was presented to humanity under the name of the Knowledge Book. In this book, also, knowledge previously not given to humanity up until today was explained in all clarity, thus preparing humanity for the unknown dimensions of the morrows. The knowledge book is the book of unification and salvation of our entire planet. This book is the single book of everyone who is living upon our planet. Therefore, the knowledge book is the book of the human being. And again, therefore, in order to lay the foundation of the single world state, Cosmos has taken into effect the project of 7 billion books for 7 billion in 2016. For the knowledge book is the single book that will let humanity pass from religion to science and intellect. I thank you all. God bless you. Be well. God bless.